Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a rough out of a cub and a stump, and he's on our website if you're interested in that challenge for this little project. And so let's get our tools and let's get started. This little fella is a very good afternoon project for you, and just a very simple project, nothing really elaborate about him. But if you're just getting started in wood carving, or you're a beginner, or even an intermediate type carver, you may carve only once in a great while. This would be a great, or if you've put the carving tools down and got busy with life, this might be a good project for you to come back to. Maybe you're just retired or whatever. But I would encourage you to get back in it if you started it some years ago, but get back into carving if you can. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're outlining the area where his neck and jowls are going to be at. And again, we're using basswood. We're going to come in here now with our knife and make a series of cuts. This is going to be the end of the stump where he's sticking his head out of. And I'm going to get to a knife that's a little bit more stout there. I'm using my left thumb for power. My right hand is as the guide. And so I'm coming in and undercutting snout area, the jowls, things like that there. Okay. And again, this takes a little time. Just come in, and I'm going to end grain, and that's what gives us a little heartburn right there, is it because it's going against that end grain. But if you got sharp tools, it should be all right. You got to push a little bit, but your tools should be sharp as a razor blade. Now, at the beginning of this project, there was a stop on top of here, and that's where the machine needs to have something to put the chuck into. So we've already carved that off. So just remind you when you do get it, that stop will be on there for you to carve off or cut it off with a coping saw or a bandsaw. All right, so now let's go on now to, we're going to start working down the facial features of him. And again, these eyes are going to be what I call them the Shipley eyes. Mike Shipley carved this guy many years ago, and he's been a kind of a popular guy to do, and very simple. Mike always wanted simple carvings and to build confidence in a first-time carver. And Mike always knew how many cuts it would take for each project. And that still blows my mind today. But anyway, very talented carver. All right, now we're going to just keep working our way around and shaping this guy's face. And we're going to come in. I like working all over, so I'm going to be jumping all over to the ears, to the mouth, the in-between things here. And let's try not to do too much chattering there. Let's get our U-gouge and do that there, because some chattering ain't going to hurt, but you do it too much, it's going to ruin the edge of your blade, of your knife. I'd rather carve than sharpen. Make sure you have firm hold of your piece. And I'm going to drop this ear down quite a bit, because everything that comes on a rough out is going to have a lot of extra meat on it. So don't be beating yourself up if you think you took off too much. You probably haven't, because we usually try to leave a lot of meat on the rough out. That way you can change the rough out up and make it your own. And so that's the fun part of it too. Just taking our knife here, creating this little dividing line that he has there. So let's take our knife and do something like that right there. Taking our V tool, bring it up on the sides like that. All right, let's get this nose established. Where the nose can stand out away from the face here. Take my knife here, make the stop cut underneath here so we'll see kind of where we're going. And of course we're gonna, again, this don't have to be exactly like the go-by sheet that you get for him. Make it your own. Change it up. You may come up with a better looking bear than mine, and that's all right. Okay, I'm taking our knife here, cleaning up around the ear. Now do be careful here because there's nothing back here or even up here now. Keep that ear from going off on you. To a longer bladed knife where I can reach out further. Okay, so this ear here is a little bigger than that one, so we'll have to downsize this one because we can't add to the other ear. So bears are very popular with a lot of people. Yeah, he's not looking too bad. All right, let's start dressing down the trunk of the tree, and that's just using a pushing cut. Getting rid of the saw marks off of here, rough out marks, router marks. Okay, since the wood's going to tear on us, let's come back this way. Working our way up here to the knot or the branch that did have it's been sawed off or broke off or whatever, an old tree. Working our way around that. So we're taking our knife and coming straight down to create this broken off branch. Come in like this. Now again, we're going against the grain, so that's going to be a little tougher right there. We'll make it happen. And we're going to put a little indentation in there, kind of break that up after a while with a U-gouge or something like that. So if you want this branch to stick out more, take off more from this side of the wood to make that stick out. You have to turn him quite a bit to get the right cut and the safest cut. And as you carve more, you're going to pick up speed because you're more confident in your cuts. But again, do be careful because the best carvers out here too, accidents do happen. So all remind us of that. And I'm far from the best, but we're trying every day to become better at what we love to do. And don't try to smooth this all up. You know, leave it rough, because after a while, we'll put some bark in here with the grain of the wood running up through here. It's already got, you know, grain running through it naturally, but we want to make it stand out just a little bit more. All right. I think we've got most of the grunt work done on this guy. And of course, there'll be places, you know, you'll need to come in, clean up. But now let's start working more on the facial features of this bear here. All right, now to do eyes for an animal, again, now we're not doing a realistic animal. Years ago when I did carving wolves and relief carving, you really had to get a lot of pictures of the wolf and things. And same thing with a bear. If you're going to do a realistic bear, you know, you need to learn all you can about the bear. But now this guy here, he's just our kind of a character bear, and he's just, maybe he's looking for berries and whatever. He's sticking his head out for maybe the first time. Coming out of hibernation, he gets hungry. Take our little V here, and we'll just put a little bit of a mouth right there. That's all you really need to do. Now, trying to get a place here for to pencil in the eyes. Now these eyes, as you'll see here on this one here, all they are is just a, kind of an upside down U. And so how I line them up is this ridge right here that I left. That is going to be my guide of getting them centered. Okay, like that. You can do the eyes two ways, or at least you can either do it with a straight knife blade, just carve right on top of that pencil line. But I like my knife to have something to follow. And so what I do is I just take my V tool, outline the pencil lines. Okay. And then I'm going to take a knife and I'm going to just put the tip, and all I'm doing is stop cutting what I just V-tooled and right around. And then I do the bottom, put a stop cut there. So we're going to take out the corners, the so-called rounded corners, and it's going to leave the center high of that. Okay, just like that. Let's go over here. Same thing, taking your time, rotating your wood around, rotating your knife around, and taking out our corners. Look him over, got a little high spot right there. There we go. Let's get our brush and look at him there. And then we're going to come in with a number 9 U-gouge, and we're going to put this little indentation of the ear in. And you can make a whole family. You can have paw and maw, and I've got a rough out over there of a little 2 bears coming out of a stump. So it's called double trouble. And bears can be ornery. They get into things. Taking your knife and cleaning all that up. Be careful. Watch where you're putting your U-gouge here. And just take your knife and removing that out, hopefully. Here we go. Cleaning out his ears. Let's look at him for a second. Now, if you want to put a little action in the tree here to show, you can just come in and carve this out and leave a little hole there. Maybe a woodpecker has pecked on that there, and whatever. And you can do that to both sides. Also, again, tree needs action also. Turn, twist. When we do the grain here a little bit. And too, you could have something looking out the hole here. Maybe it's his little brother that's standing on his shoulders. They have a couple eyes looking out there, when you paint. Or some type of critter that's living in there with him, So use your imagination. That's what the fun thing about carving is. And again, you don't have to carve it like I do. Make this your own, But I want to show you just the basics of what you can do here with this rough out. Now, I won't, for time's sake, but I'll show you how you can put in grain and in a tree. And again, it's kind of like doing hair, But now with grain, I learned this in relief carving, that you keep it pretty consistent. Grain runs every which way, twist and turn, and then you'll get down here and you'll see like a big old knot or something like this here, and then just come in and make smaller cuts to create something like that there in your wood, like the fence line. Fence, the old boards would have knots in it. And again, this does not have to be perfect. This is a rough old tree. It's probably, of course, it's a dead tree, probably. And but whatever you do, finish out your cuts when you're carving the wood. All right, just like hair, finish it out. Now on the side, on the stumps here, same thing. Just put a few in here. Again, because from a distance, you're not going to see every grain of the wood. Just like in hair, you're not going to see every bit of hair. You're just seeing locks of hair. But in the same thing in this, you're just sporadically putting in little cuts, little things, and crisscross them, whatever there. So then, if you need to come back to deepen areas, then do so. And again, with your bears give your bears action. Have them looking left or right or up or down or cross-eyed. Do something. So we're not going to finish this out, but we'll do this off camera. But you can see here we've got a little cub that's in a stump, and he's sticking his head out. Now, you could maybe even put some paws here in the front if you want to, make him some paws hanging out. He get ready to come out of it if you'd like. Or leave him like he is. He just may have stuck his head out to see if it's whatever time of the year, So anyway, you can see how we did the grain there in the camera, and just go all the way around it. And then when you paint him, look up some colors that you could paint him and make him your own. There's a cub and a stump, and he's just as cute as he can be. And so anyway, well, I hope that if you have enjoyed this project today, and I hope that you will go on the website and look him up, Cub and a Stump, and he'll be a great project for you in the afternoon or a rainy day or whatever it may be. Or again, if you're just a beginner or maybe you've quit carving for a while and you've coming back to carving, it might be a great project for you to start out on. All right, well, thank you for joining us today, and happy carving. We'll see you real soon.